here actually. Seminars. Actually, he's right here after completing a seminar. Is that right, Simon?
Yes, I've just finished. I'm not going to use that. I've just finished doing a 2-hour management training session with the Starmark group. Have you heard of the Starmark group?
Yes.
Yep. So I just come from the Taj Hotel. I've been with them all afternoon talking to 180 of their senior management team. And I've been talking to them about leadership, integrity, and a culture of excellence. And hopefully they all stayed awake. We passed on some really good stories. So I've talked to them about Steve Waugh, Mark Taylor, Virat Kohli, MS Dhoni. Do you know any of those players? Yep, so I've given them some stories and some examples around those topics. Leadership, integrity, and a culture of excellence.
Big round of applause, Simon. You're continuing the good work that you're doing off the field.
Yep.
And coming to Simon on the field. Well, Simon, at 27 you chose umpiring. You were a fast bowler.
I was.
You were a fast bowler during your playing days. So what actually made you get into that kind of boring job, the thankless job that we see, umpiring?
Look, at the age of 19 I was playing second grade for a club side in Sydney called Mossman. And you might have heard of a famous West Indian player by the name of Sir Gary Sobers.
Yeah.
Gary Sobers was our club coach at Mossman. And I was playing club cricket at Mossman second grade as a fast bowler, and I had a back injury, and that stopped me playing for the rest of the season. So then I went to play some local cricket, what we call park cricket, and my opening bowling colleague, who was actually a bit of a loose cannon because he's a left armer, so a bit of a screw loose. But David was a good guy. I really enjoyed playing with David. And David had this ambition to become an umpire. So he said, look, let's go and do an umpiring course. And I said, look, I'm really not interested, I'll just see how it goes. He said, no, come on, let's go. So we did the 10 hours, we did the 4 nights, we sat the umpire's exam. There was a pass mark of 85%. David failed the exam, he got less than 85. I think I got 93. I got a few questions wrong. And so once I passed the exam, I thought, well, I might as well give umpiring a go. And I started on umpiring on a Saturday afternoon for the princely sum of $60. $60. And I used that to try to help me put through my university course that I was doing at the time. And who knew back then, at the age of 20, that almost 30 years, 28 years later, that I'd be standing here in Chennai talking to you about umpiring and about international success and what it takes to be the world's #1. So it's quite amazing.
And you missed that 5-time consecutive ICC award win.
Well, we're lucky about that. We're lucky.
Simon, first year you got that ICC Best Umpire of the Year award. Second time around you got it. Third time, didn't it kind of get to you?
Winning those awards bags was quite embarrassing because we're a team. We're a team. We're an umpiring team. And when we sit at the table like a group of 12 and they pick out one umpire to go up and collect a trophy, for a team sport, that's very embarrassing. So I felt awkward, I felt embarrassed, and I suppose those awards meant more to the people that helped me than myself. So my coaches, my family, etc. And to answer your question about what do I do after 1 or 2 or 3, well, my main coach, he would say, look, just keep training like you're #2. Never think that you're #1. You need to keep working hard, keep improving yourself like you're #2. Because when you are supposedly #1, and it's just an award, it's just a vote, but when you are supposedly #1, a lot of other people want to be #1. And in a country like India, there's a lot of competition. A lot of people want what you have. So I wanted to make sure that I didn't take it easy and I didn't take it for
the last 20 years?
No, I did. So accountability is a really strong value of what I do. And when we, like a coach and you have an agreement, and the coach and you agree to do certain things by a certain time, and if I missed a deadline, or if I sort of took a shortcut, he would give me a hard time and said, hey, look, I'm not going to chase you, I'm not going to give you a talking to, it's your game, and if you decide to cut corners, bad things are going to happen, so it's up to you, it's your choice. So good coaches basically just ask good questions, but they give you accountability.
See, Simon, finding the gaps is the title of your book. Usually, when we talk about batsmen,
Yeah.
the beauty of batsmanship really lies in finding the gaps at the right time. So, it's easy to hit the ball hard straight to the fielder, but it's very difficult to find the gaps. At what point of time actually did this idea strike your mind? Because you started doing your management,
Sure.
coaching, and all of that.
Yep. Look, as a player, and I played for a little while, as a batsman, isn't it funny when you are actually batting and you're on strike and you look at the fieldsman, normally that's where the ball goes. You hit the ball to the fielders when you look at the fielders. So very early on in my playing career, I was taught, don't look where the fieldsmen are, look where the gaps are in the field and hit the ball towards the gap. And if you keep doing that, you'll make runs, you'll score runs. So in performance, we need to try and find out what our opportunity of potential is. We need to find out what's stopping us from being as good as we can be. And so that takes great self-awareness. It takes a lot of help from the coaches to identify your weaknesses and your opportunities. And once you know what that gap is, then you've got to try and close it. You've got to say, okay, so how do I become better? And I then try and find people that are very good in that one particular skill area. So that might be something like resilience, recovering back from a bad decision or a negative. So I would look at who does that very well, and I'd say, how can I bridge my gap between where I am now and where I want to get to? But you need to identify and unlock your potential. And so what I've tried to do in this book is give you skills that you can try, give you tips that you can look at, because it's not about being a better umpire, it's about being a better individual. You know, they're all personal skills. So we're not all the same, we're all different. There'll be some doctors here, there'll be some lawyers, there'll be some teachers, there'll be some bus drivers, there'll be some hospitality staff. And if you can just try to be the best that you can be, then good things are going to happen. And if you're going to work in the bookstore, well, be the best employee the bookstore's got. You know, really try to look for your gaps.
The crowd is chanting Dhoni, Dhoni. Should I raise my hand or should I not? And he raises his hands and silences the crowd. That's a different story altogether. But after you go to your room, you sit down, you relax, is it still ringing? The 50,000 people, 60,000 people chanting?
Very much. Very much. So, you know, one of the great privileges of being an international cricket umpire, of course, is that you officiate some great talent. You are surrounded by top athletes, good coaches, and then comes with that is a lot of expectation of performance. Because people don't come to watch me umpire, they come to watch the players. But at the end of the day, my performance is really important as well. I have the ICC as a cricket umpire that I've got to make sure that when they assess my performance, that they do that in a positive way. And when I get back to my hotel room, and if it's an IPL match, you get back to your hotel room about 12:30 in the morning, maybe 1 o'clock, and all you can hear in your ears is those horns or the crowd, and you turn the lights off or you turn the TV off, and that ringing in your ear stays with you, and your brain keeps ticking over. And if you happen to have made a mistake, generally you're replaying all of those mistakes in your mind, or you're just unpacking and debriefing the game. Very hard to wind down. So maybe by about 2:30, 3 o'clock, a couple of hours after I get to the hotel, then you actually start to relax and you start to unwind, because your mind is just ticking over. You just keep reliving events and you keep going through it. And that's part of what we do. It's part of the job, which was the India-Pakistan semi-final in Mohali. Remember that game?
Right. I got the game wrong.
Yeah, well, that's okay, but I gave Virender out in that game, LBW.
Yes, because I was telling, how can Simon get it wrong? Why did you go for a DRS when Simon cues it out? That's what I was telling myself.
So he went for the DRS, and thankfully it pitched just in line.
Yeah.
Just.
Yeah. The period of doubt went to you.
Just. I don't have the benefit of the mat
Tracker.
and I don't have the benefit of the tracker. But when the batsman goes like that, normally the next minute and a half and 2 minutes are the longest 2 minutes in your life, while you have your decision dissected in front of millions of people.
50,000 people booing on the ground.
Yeah, so you think, well, what's tracker going to show? And you look at the colours and you think, well, you've just got to accept it. But it's really unnerving. And for the batsman to keep going like that, you think they're not respecting the decision, but they're just trying to avoid what's going on. show me a batsman who wants to get out. I've only had one batsman in my entire career who I've given out that's actually walked past me and said, thanks very much for giving me out, it's been an absolute pleasure. And it happened in a Division 4 game in Singapore, where I had this guy.
You were honoured to be given out by Simon.
Yeah, That's called adaptability. Because the one constant that we've got in the world at the moment is change. We need to be able to think positively and open-mindedly about change. So I umpired pre-DRS, where I'd make a decision and your decision stood, and then you walk off the field at the end of the day, and normally the match referee or the third umpire would tell you whether you got it right or you got it wrong. And then halfway through my career in 2008, DRS came in, and all of a sudden I was getting instant feedback about my decisions because I could see them on the screen, and the players would make me have a look, and then if I had to do something like that, that's a very embarrassing signal.
And you hear the boom.
That's a very embarrassing signal. But you know what it does? It allows the game to move on a lot faster, because pre-DRS, if I'd made a mistake, normally I'd have Virender Sehwag standing next to me saying, hey Simon, you got that one wrong. Hey Simon, you got that one wrong. Hey Simon, you got that one wrong. Post-DRS, if you're able to fix the decision up, you don't have that constant reminder. You don't have that focus on the umpiring decision affecting the game. So the umpires today, in general, are quite accepting and have adapted to the new environment where they get this instant feedback, and they actually feel as though there's probably less pressure on them because they're not being constantly reminded that they got one wrong, because the mistake normally has been fixed up. So if the game moves on, if the players have moved on, and the commentators aren't talking about it, it gives them more opportunity for them to move on. And that's why adapting to the new environment is really important.
Went against RCB. The last ball, which was bowled by Vasit Malinga, turned out to be a no ball and RCB lost the match. I recently happened to read a report in the newspaper that stated that they are planning to introduce a fifth umpire just to monitor the no balls. Yeah, so just to monitor the no balls. Do you think such things should also be implemented in international cricket? Because if you look at the World Cup, a lot of decisions went wrong, especially the final, wherein there was no clarity as to who actually won the match, whether it was New Zealand or England. People were in doubt. There was an umpiring error also. I do agree the fact that umpiring is a stressful job. But when certain things like this happen, there is always this debate, as to who probably RCB would have won that match, and from then the team would have really done better. But unfortunately, they lost, and they went on to lose the IPL, and they were positioned at the bottom of the table, which, as a fan for me, so. Sorry, the question is a bit long, but yeah.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So, about the introduction of fifth umpire to monitor the no balls. Do you think this should be brought in the international scene as well?
You're an RCB fan?
Yes, I'm an RCB fan.
What a surprise. What a surprise. How can I answer your question in the best way? I don't know the detail of what's been proposed just yet, so it's really hard for me to make a value judgment or comment about that. I would like to see umpires trust in their ability and their judgment to make decisions without having to rely upon technology. That's a good thing. Regardless of how much technology we put in the game, there will always be a debate that we need more or that we need less. So no matter what we try and do, if we then look at the front foot no ball, you're going to tell me at some stage an umpire's going to get the back foot no ball right. So let's put cameras for the back foot no ball. Then we're going to say someone's made a mistake on the waist high for the toss. So then we're going to form the technology about, well, let's put a sensor on there where the waist is, and then we're going to try to address that one. And then someone's going to get out off the second bouncer in an over, so then we'll put a sensor on the shoulder for the second bouncer.
As an Indian cricket fan. My question is, we see a lot on the pitch, of course, there's a lot of, we see that part of it, but as somebody who's a working professional, I I find a lot of corporate bureaucracy getting in my way as well. So anything that you can tell us about maybe the bureaucracy that you were a part of, the ICC and all that, and what got in your way and how did you overcome?
Bureaucracy, as you put it, there's a lot of things you can't control. There's a lot of things that just happen that are beyond your control. And a lot of upper management who make decisions that you have no say in, and you just have to follow what they do. So again, how do we keep that simple? We focus on what we can do and try to ignore what we can't do. You know, because sometimes we go home, and you'll go home tonight, and you'll think about things that the government's doing this. You know, the politicians are doing that. And the only time you can influence what the politicians do is when you go to vote. You can't do much in between. Or you might worry about what your senior management are doing in the company. And your ability to influence them is pretty small. But yet we spend this amount of time on it. And normally we spend a lot of time worrying about things that aren't just going to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, grand unveiling, nice colour. Okay, there we go. Finally they go.
Already got it.